Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're heading off the coast of Brazil to explore an island that looks like an absolute paradise from a distance, but is actually, well, a total nightmare. We are talking about a place where we, as humans, are definitely not the dominant species. It's literally so perilous that the government strictly warns people to stay away. Rescue missions? Yeah, they're nearly impossible. Tourists are completely banned. We're heading to Ilha da Queimada Grande, which is far more commonly and terrifyingly known around the world as Snake Island.
Now, if you're just looking from above, the place is gorgeous. With its crystal-clear blue water, dense green forests, and dramatic rocky cliffs, it looks like a travel magazine cover. You'd probably think, wow, ultimate vacation spot, right? But check out the reality waiting on the ground. Beneath that breathtaking beauty is a situation so intense that almost nobody is allowed to set foot there. This isn't some frozen wasteland. It's a vibrant tropical island that just so happens to be one of the most feared locations on the entire planet. And the reason for this massive government restriction? It all comes down to a single, highly adapted predator.
Section 1. The Golden Lancehead Viper, a unique and deadly predator. Let's dive right in and look at exactly what makes this small tropical island so incredibly dangerous.
100%. Let that sink in for a second. That is the portion of the world's golden lancehead viper population that lives on this single isolated island. You will not find this snake anywhere else on Earth, period. While scientists estimate there are thousands of these venomous snakes packed into this small area, their sheer isolation actually makes them incredibly vulnerable. Think about it, because literally every single one of them lives right here. One bad storm, a fast-spreading disease, or an environmental disaster could wipe the entire species from the face of the planet forever. So it's absolutely crucial to science, but it's also unbelievably dangerous for anyone who visits.
And here's the really scary part. The danger is practically invisible. When the few permitted researchers actually walk through this forest, they have to watch every single step. These vipers, they don't just hang out in the open. They blend perfectly into the leaves, the branches, the rocks. They rely on this incredible camouflage to survive totally unseen. You could be standing inches away from one of the highest concentrations of venomous snakes on Earth and have absolutely no idea. You know, in nature, survival usually goes to the creature that can stay hidden. And the golden lancehead has mastered this.
Moving on to Section 2, a laboratory of evolution. How isolation created a perfect predator. To really wrap our heads around why this specific snake is so uniquely deadly, we need to travel back thousands of years.
So, thousands of years ago, long before modern civilization, Snake Island wasn't actually an island at all. It was connected right to mainland Brazil, and animals just moved back and forth freely. But then, the Ice Age ended, and massive glaciers started melting. Over thousands of years, sea levels inevitably rose all across the globe, and eventually the ocean just swallowed the land bridge entirely. The snakes living on that newly formed island? Trapped. Over millennia after millennium, with very few predators and super limited food sources, this severed piece of land basically became an isolated laboratory of evolution.
Picture this. They're trapped on this tiny island. The mammals and rodents that venomous snakes usually hunt became incredibly scarce. They had to adapt, right? So they turned to birds as their primary food source. But hunting birds requires a very specific weapon. If you bite a bird with slow-acting venom, well, it's just going to fly away before you can eat it. Game over. Because of that, natural selection heavily favored the snakes whose venom acted faster and more effectively. Nature literally engineered a biological weapon here. Venom so powerful and rapid that the prey couldn't escape. It wasn't planned. It was just millions of tiny evolutionary changes stacking up over thousands of years to create the ultimate hunting system. This brings us to Section 3, the Lighthouse Legend, Tales from the Forbidden Island. Over the generations, these terrifying realities have cemented the island's fearsome reputation deep in local Brazilian culture. There's this one chilling story that surrounds the island's lighthouse. Long ago, way before everything was automated, lighthouse keepers actually lived out on these remote islands. According to local legend, a keeper's family met a super tragic end out there. The myth goes that snakes literally slithered into their home through the gaps in the windows and doors. The family tried to run, but they never made it to safety. Now, while scientists debate the exact historical accuracy of that story, it is deeply embedded in local folklore. And today, that lighthouse is still standing there, silent, weathered, and totally alone. It kind of feels less like a building and more like a monument to just how unforgiving nature can be.
But human nature is funny, isn't it? We hear deadly restricted island and our curiosity just skyrockets. We are completely fascinated by the fact that true wilderness still exists.
Despite the strict government warnings, the creepy legends, and the very real danger, our obsession with this untamed, unpredictable place continues to explode across the globe. Through documentaries, social media, all of it, millions of us are captivated by a place where nature, not humanity, makes the rules. Honestly, the more restricted the location, the more drawn to it we seem to become.
All right, Section 4, From Monster to Medicine, the healing power of venom. Because guys, here's the ultimate twist in our explainer today. The exact same venom that makes the golden lancehead a perfect killer, it might actually hold the key to saving human lives.
The brave researchers who actually go out there to study these snakes have made a wild discovery. Their venom contains highly complex molecules that interact with the human body in just astonishing ways. In fact, compounds inspired by this kind of venom research are already helping to treat cardiovascular conditions right now, and they're actively contributing to future pharmaceutical developments. This venom teaches us about biology itself, how life evolves, how nature solves complex problems. Medications inspired by this research are literally helping countless patients around the world today.
It highlights a really profound irony of nature, doesn't it? What happens when a terrifying biological threat inadvertently evolves into a life-saving medical solution? Think about how incredible that is. The monster becomes the healer. The threat becomes the cure. This completely shifts how we view Snake Island. It goes from being this place of pure nightmare to a total treasure trove of scientific possibility, holding answers to medical breakthroughs that are just waiting to be found.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. If a deadly, forbidden island completely swarmed with venomous vipers actually holds life-saving medical secrets, what other untamed mysteries are waiting to be uncovered in the untouched corners of our planet? Earth is still filled with places capable of completely surprising us and challenging our assumptions. Snake Island is a beautiful paradise, a deadly wilderness, and a scientific goldmine, all wrapped into one. It really reminds us that there is still so much of the unknown left to explore. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep questioning what miraculous secrets might be hiding just out of sight.